quorum of the Planning Commission. My name is Mariel Caballero, and I'm the chair of the Planning Commission. Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting. This meeting is being held via Zoom conference call due to the COVID-19 crisis. Members of the public may participate by following the instructions listed on the agenda. You may also view and listen to the meeting on live stream cable, TV, Granicus, and YouTube. If you would like to provide public comment, you have two methods to identify to provide public comment. All members of the public will remain on mute until the individual identifies they would like to speak and you are unmuted. Following roll call during the summary of hearing procedure, we will review how the public may provide comment during today's session. So at this time, we will go ahead and do roll call. Vice Chair Bonilla. Commissioner Casey.
Here.
Commissioner Garcia. I see you, but you are muted.
I'm here.
There you go. Commissioner Lardinois. He is here as well. Commissioner Oliverio.
Here.
Thank you. And Commissioner Torrance. Here.
Oh, is my microphone not working?
Commissioner Bonilla here.
Oh, and Commissioner Bonilla has joined us. Thank you very much. And Chair Caballero is also here. So now we will go through the summary of hearing procedures. After the staff report, applicants and appellants may make a 5-minute presentation. City staff will call out the names of the public who identified the items they want to speak on. You may identify yourself by using the raised hand feature on Zoom, clicking *9 on your phone, or you may call 408-535-3505 or email planningsupportstaff@sanjoseca.gov. And please identify your name, phone number, and what items you would like to speak on. As your name is called, city staff will unmute you to speak. After we confirm your audio is working, your allotted time will begin. Each speaker will have 2 minutes. Speakers using a translator will have 4 minutes. After the public testimony, the applicant and appellant may make closing remarks for an additional 5 minutes. Planning commissioners may ask questions of the speakers. Responses to commissioner questions will not reduce the speaker's time allowance. Staff will unmute the speaker to respond to the commissioner. The public hearing will then be closed and the Planning Commission will take action on the item. The Planning Commission may request staff to respond to public testimony, ask staff questions, and discuss the item. If you challenge these land use decisions in court, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at this public hearing or in written correspondence delivered to the city at or prior to the public hearing. The Planning Commission's action on rezonings, pre-zonings, general plan amendments, and code amendments is only advisory to the City Council. The City Council will hold public hearings on these items. Section 20.120.400 of the Municipal Code provides the procedures for legal protests to the City Council on rezonings and pre-zonings. The Planning Commission's action on conditional use permits is appealable to the City Council in accordance with section 20.100.220 of the Municipal Code. So at this time, I'm calling this meeting to order, and we will move to the public comment section. Staff, do we have any members of the public who would like to speak on items that are not currently on the agenda? Okay. Seeing none.
No, not this time.
At this time, we will move to item number 3, which is deferral and removal from the calendar. There are no items on item number 3, so we will move to item number 4, which is consent calendar. Staff, do we have any public speakers on any items on the consent calendar?
Sorry, just a second. My screen is frozen. I don't see any hands right now. We'll check if anyone called in.
Motion to approve the consent calendar.
Okay, if we could have anybody who's not speaking, please put themselves on mute. We're getting a lot of feedback and reverberation. Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Oliverio to approve the consent calendar. Do we have a second?
Second.
Can I have clarification? I don't see a consent. Oh, wait, you know what? I actually misread the agenda. My bad. Never mind. Sorry about that.
No problem, Commissioner Lardinois. We have a second by Commissioner Casey. Do we have any discussion on the item? Okay, seeing no hands and no one trying to flag me down, we will go ahead and take a roll call vote on the consent calendar, which is items 4A, CP20-204, which is an administrative hearing for a conditional use permit and determination of public convenience or necessity to allow off-sale alcohol at a grocery store located on the west side of East Capitol Expressway at 2926 Aborn Square. And item 3B or 4B, which is PP20-014, an ordinance of the City of San Jose amending various sections of Title 20 of the Municipal Code to A, amend Part 4.5, accessory dwelling units, B, add notes specifying permitting requirements for transitional housing, and C, incorporating minor text alterations to the Table 20-156, D, amending Table 20-100 and Section 20.40.200 to allow property in commercial neighborhood zoning districts to utilize the Urban Village Plan to development standards. And those are the two items on the consent calendar. So at this time, I'd like to take a roll call vote. Vice Chair Bonilla.
Aye.
Commissioner Casey.
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia.
Aye.
Commissioner Lardinois.
Aye.
Commissioner Oliverio.
Aye.
Commissioner Torrens.
Aye.
And Commissioner Caballero is also an aye, and we will take a moment for staff to go ahead and put the votes up on the screen. Or maybe not, because screen sharing has stopped. There we go. And that item, consent calendar, passes unanimously. Thank you so much. Okay, we will move to the public hearing. Which there are no items for the public hearing, which is item number 5. We're going to go ahead and move forward with opening the general plan hearing. And item number 7A is a general plan consent calendar, which is GPT 20-003 and GP 20-006, a city-initiated general plan amendment to make minor revisions to the Envision San Jose 2040 general plan, including updates to the transportation network definitions and diagram and clarifications to the general plan land use designations. And do we have a motion to approve that item?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you,
Take
Commissioner
public comment.
Oliverio. Oh, not, thank you, Commissioner Lardinois. Do we have any public comment on item 7A? Seeing none from staff or anybody's hands up in the attendees section, we can go ahead and we have a motion by Commissioner Oliverio, and I missed who made the second.
I don't know if anyone did. but-
Bonilla did. Bonilla did.
You guys kind of
But I'll defer to Lord and Law.
No,
It's all
quite
yours.
all right.
All yours. All yours.
Okay, second by Commissioner Vice Chair Bonilla. We have a motion on the floor to approve the general plan consent calendar, item 7A. Do we have any discussion from the commissioners? Okay, seeing none, let's take a roll call vote. Vice Chair Bonilla.
Aye.
Vice Commissioner Casey.
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia. Commissioner Garcia, we cannot hear you.
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Lardinois.
Aye.
Commissioner Oliverio.
Aye.
Commissioner Torrens.
Aye.
And Chair Caballero is also an aye, and we will pause for staff to record the vote. Great, that motion passes unanimously, approving item 7A. So now we'll move on to item 8A, which is a general plan public hearing, GPT 20-001, which is a privately initiated general plan text amendment to amend the Five Wounds Urban Village Plan. And I believe we have a presentation from staff, correct?
Yes, a verbal report, and then we'll go to the applicant's 5-minute presentation. But good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, and Planning Commissioners. GPT 20-001 is a proposal to amend the text of the Five Wounds Urban Village Plan to 1, modify the interim land uses and land use policies to allow transit supportive development to move ahead of the full funding of the 28th Street / Little Portugal BART station, and 2, to revise the urban village land use designation. So to increase the residential density from 95 to 250 dwelling units per acre, and then also reducing the minimum commercial/office floor area ratio from 0.75 to 0.1 for projects that are less than 1.5 acres or they're located west of the Five Wounds Trail. The applicant's proposed text amendment would apply to all the properties with an urban village land use designation that's located within the boundaries of the Five Wounds Urban Village. And the applicant has represented that their intent is to develop a future mixed-use project at 70 North 27th Street, and proposes this general plan text amendment to allow transit supportive projects to move ahead of the existing interim land use policies in the urban village plan. The phased growth strategy stated in the interim land use policies prohibits residential uses on properties with an urban village land use designation and focuses on the preservation of existing commercial and industrial uses in the interim until growth from Horizon 2 is allocated to the urban village, and 2, funding of the 28th Street BART station is fully secured. So the applicant's proposed text changes to the urban village plan would allow transit-supported mixed-use residential development to move forward, and they propose to revise interim land use policies 1, 2, and 4 to allow an exception for transit-supported mixed-use residential projects that exceed 75 dwelling units per acre, which follows the BART recommended transit-oriented development guidelines to support transit ridership to proceed ahead of the full funding of the BART station. And 2, it's to modify the urban village land use designation, as I mentioned before. So the key GP policies for conformance, the proposed amendments to the interim land use policies would be consistent with efficient use of residential and mixed use land policy LU-10.1 and 10.3, as they would allow development of mixed use development and result in construction of residential units near the 28th Street / Little Portugal BART stations sooner than currently written, which would be consistent with city policies that encourage development near major transit facilities at high densities, and to reduce motor vehicle travel by encouraging use of public transit while also creating walkable communities. And additionally, the proposed general plan text amendment to increase the urban village land use designation residential density would be consistent with social housing, social equity, and diversity goal H-1 and its policies by allowing a wider variety of residential density that would be consistent with the urban village land use designation in the general plan. However, the proposed text amendment to reduce the commercial density in the urban village land use designation would be inconsistent with 3 different policies. The land use policy LU-1-1 or LU-1.1 that encourages increasing the jobs to employed resident ratio, land use commercial policy LU-4.1 that encourages retention of existing commercial lands for workers, residents, and visitors, as well as neighborhood serving commercial policy LU-5.3 that encourages new and intensification of existing commercial development. Additionally, in December 2018, the City Council approved amendments to the Five Wounds Urban Village Plan that were related to these interim land use policies, and also provided further direction for staff to explore additional changes to allow certain key properties to develop mixed-use projects in advance of the BART station. In addition to that, in December 2019, VTA conducted a study to create transit-oriented communities in San Jose, which recommended updating land use policies in the 28th Street / Little Portugal BART station area to ensure development of a transit-oriented community. So as directed by council and to support the implementation of VTA's study, a planning process to update the Five Wounds Urban Village Plan is anticipated to be initiated in spring 2021. And the update could include removal of the interim land use policies and would have a robust community engagement process to consider changes in densities and heights, among other updates. In terms of outreach, a community meeting occurred on September 28th and had 33 attendees, and the applicant presented a conceptual design of a potential project at 70 North 27th Street, which is in its preliminary design and pre-submittal outreach phase, and the public comments addressed the conceptual design. So this conceptual design has not yet been evaluated by city staff at this time, since the submitted application for this project is only a general plan text amendment. The separate outreach process will occur once the applicant submits the design concept as part of a development permit. In terms of CEQA, an initial study and addendum to the final program EIR for the Envision San Jose 2040 General Plan, the Envision San Jose 2040 General Plan Supplemental EIR, and addenda thereto was prepared for this project. So in conclusion, staff recommends the approval of the applicant's proposed text changes to the Five Wounds BART Urban Village Plan, with exception that staff recommends denial of the portion of the application that reduce the commercial or office density from 0.75 to 0.1 FAR on parcels that are less than 1.5 acres or west of the Five Wounds Trail in the Urban Village land use designation, as it's not consistent with the goals and policies of the general plan that we referenced a little before. This would affect 65 parcels, which I should mention is a correction from the staff report, within the urban village without any further community outreach. Staff proposes that the consideration of changes to the commercial FAR requirement should be analyzed holistically through the Five Wounds Urban Village Plan update process, which is happening next year, and will include community and stakeholder engagement. And as part of this process, staff will holistically evaluate and propose land use designation, land use policy changes to further the recommendations of ETA and for the BART station area. Should the Planning Commission choose to approve the applicant's proposed reduction in FAR, staff would recommend that the 1.5 acre exception should only apply to pre-subdivision acreage and should not apply to contiguous properties under common ownership unless the total of the contiguous properties under common ownership is less than 1.5 acres, to prevent having additional properties apply for that exception and to prevent people from piecemealing projects as well. And this concludes staff presentation.
Thank you, Jessica. Do you know who's speaking on behalf of the applicant?
Anthony Ho.
Can we give that person 5 minutes and have them be given the ability to speak? I am. Oh. Anthony, you are currently muted.
Okay. Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Anthony Ho from LPMD Architects. And I don't think I can share the screen yet. Can someone turn it on for me, please? Okay.
Anthony, you need to press there you go.
Yep, okay. Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Anthony Ho. And first, I would like to thank staff for working with us so diligently and all their support for our proposal. And also, the staff report is very thorough and very well written, and it captures everything that we were suggested. So thank you very much for that. I would just like to take a couple minutes just to go over very quickly what we had presented to the community on September 28th. And what we did was to see what the project might look like on a very conceptual basis. So the parcel that we are working on is 70 North 27th Street, which is a mid-block between Santa Clara and St. James. The parcel is right next to the Five Winds Trail, is very close to the future bus station. On the first floor, what we are proposing is that we will have commercial spaces, which is in pink that you can see along 27th and 28th. And they will be on the edge, around the building edge, and the parking space will be hidden behind them. So nobody can actually see the parking garage. And what is good about this is that you can have interaction between pedestrians and the residents along 27th and along 28th, which is the trail, all the green area that you see here. On the upper floors, which is from floor 2nd to the 6th floor, so there are 5 floors of residential units that we're proposing. We probably would do a donut-shaped building, wrapping a internal courtyard, and all the units were facing either outward or facing into the courtyard. And then we probably will propose a roof deck as well. In the urban village plan, the architectural elements that was mentioned was Mediterranean, Portuguese, and Mexican heritage. So we did some research on the images of these 3 styles. Mediterranean, Portuguese, and Mexican heritage. When we combine them, we want to see how it might look like, and also how it looks like with the 70 feet maximum height that we're allowed to build. So we did 2 views. One is towards the southeast, one is towards the northwest. First, the one towards the southeast. You can see the church in the far background there. And I'll take a closer look, zoom in. So this is the kind of building that we are envisioning, and that's what we show to the community. And many of the community members actually like the look of this building. As you can see, the roof material, the color, texture, and the style of architecture are all blending into the environment pretty well. And this one is the northwest view. You can see the trail in the foreground and also the church in the foreground. A closer look at that. And we even look at how the trail and the park might work. And we're thinking that we'll have the interface with the park. We put the lift work spaces or commercial spaces on the 1st floor so that you can have relationship with the park. And same thing with the 27th Street. We'll have a good street interface as well. So that's what we have presented, and I hope that I just want to share with you so that we're on the same page about what the concept might be like. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you so much. So at this time, we'll go ahead and go to public comment if there is any.
Okay, first we have, oh, sorry. There you go. First we have Roland. Roland, you are unmuted. Please unmute yourself and begin to speak.
Thank you. Very briefly, I had not planned to speak on this, but I feel forced to because I somehow get the impression that the input that was provided at the community meeting was not captured properly. As I recall it, there were 2 things that we mentioned was the way that you enter and exit the parking on 27th Street. They're using a single entrance into the building for both entry and exit. And we felt it would be preferable, you know, as you heading north to then enter the building, and then to the north side of the building would then be where the exit would be. That was the first point that we made. The other point that was actually repeated by multiple commenters is that, as you saw in the picture, that building is bright white. And the community felt that was not the appropriate color. They wanted something with a slight tone, like maybe a beige or, you know, a light brown, something like that, so that it doesn't clash with the church, which is bright white. And that basically are the only comments I want to make. Thank you.
Okay, I guess that's all. There was one who raised their hand earlier. Okay, we have one right now. Jacqueline, you are unmuted. Go ahead and unmute yourself and begin to speak.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate from the previous community member The same concerns about the parking and the traffic, and a couple other things regarding the entrance location and exit location, and also pedestrian traffic as well. I think one recommendation, I don't know if traffic studies have been done because it's early on in the stages, but potentially a stop sign to help with the traffic going into the parking garage, or at least one entrance/exit at the other end, because currently where it's located in the diagram is very close to McDonald's, which has a ton of traffic going in and out. So I just think it gets a little congested there. And also just the street parking or potentially loading or unloading zones to help with, rideshare, and also the businesses that are already there that have been there for a long time. So I just wanted to reiterate the same concerns in regards to parking that maybe will be addressed later on. Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any other hands up.
So before I go to applicant's response to public question, I want to recognize Vera because she has her hands up.
Thank you, Chair. The issue that I have right now, or what I'm hearing, is I'm not hearing comments on the project in front of you. And I'm hearing comments on a project that doesn't have any application yet before the planning staff and before the commission. What you have tonight is a general plan amendment with recommendations that I haven't heard discussed by any of the commenters. And I just wanted to caution you to focus on the application that you have before you and not on considering an application that has not even been submitted to the city and may have to change as a result of your decision tonight and the council's decision on this general plan amendment.
Thank you for the clarification, Vera. Okay, so with that, we'll give the applicant 5 minutes to respond to public comment and also to our council's clarification that we have yet to hear any presentation related to the actual general plan text amendment request.
Yes, thank you for the comment from the two community members. Thank you very much. Yes, we heard you that night. We totally understand those comments about the color and the traffic and the in and out of the garage. But as we just heard a little bit earlier, we are not focusing on right now on the resolving the fine details of the design yet, because we still need input from the city staff, from planning, from public work, from fire, from a lot of different departments, which we still need to file an actual application of the design into the city first. So we did not really work further on the design since that meeting. What I just presented was just to recapture what we had presented in that meeting to the commissioners and the chair. That's it. So that explains why you did not see the changes that was discussed in the meeting. Thank you.
Okay. So at this time, I want to recognize Commissioner Oliverio. We'll open it up for questions, commissioner questions.
Thank you, Chair. I want to appreciate staff making it very clear on where you agreed and disagreed with the application. This would impact 65 other parcels. So that's not just this parcel, and that the commercial change is significant, and that obviously creates a burden on the remaining properties and maybe would not allow the city to make its goal for that criteria. You also mentioned that the city council would be taking up this entire holistic view of this area in the spring of 2021. So it's not that far off, but I understand it probably doesn't meet the applicant's goal. And I think what the city attorney stated was pretty clear. We have some renderings, but this isn't a project. This is a text amendment, which has much larger ramifications to the entire area. Otherwise, density good, height good. Major issue though on the commercial, which is really a city council decision and not for the planning commission. So I would simply make a motion, certainly not closing off discussion. Everyone's welcome to vet this as much as they want, but make a motion to support the staff recommendation.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Torrens. Do we have further comments from our or questions from our commissioners?
I think Vera's hand is still up. I don't know if that's from earlier or.
She's just taken it down.
Thank you for the reminder.
Commissioners, do we have any further comments? Okay, no comments or questions. So I'm going to close the public hearing, and we have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Oliverio. Do we have a second?
I believe Torrance made the second.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, you did, Commissioner Torrance. Thank you so much, Vice Chair Bonilla. It's been a really long day. So we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion of the motion, or would either of the motioner or the seconder like to speak to their motion?
I'm fine.
Seeing no other comments from commissioners, I would just reiterate what Commissioner Oliverio said related to density, but my concerns are also about limiting commercial in this area and really reducing our ability for tax revenue as a city, but that's an issue for the City Council to review, and I agree that we should be looking at this more holistically given the impact that it could potentially have on the rest of the neighborhood. So with that, so we had a member of the public who raised their hand, but they've already spoken on this item. So unfortunately, we're not able to speak again once you've spoken. So they've taken their hand down. We will have other items where public can comment on those items if the question related to another item on the agenda. So let's go ahead and do a roll call vote. Vice Chair Bonilla.
Aye.
Commissioner Casey.
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia.
Aye.
Commissioner Lardinois.
Aye.
Commissioner Oliverio.
Aye.
Commissioner Torrens.
Aye.
And Chair Caballero is also an aye, and we'll pause at this time to let the staff reflect the vote. And that passes unanimously. Staff recommendation passes unanimously. So we'll go ahead and move on to item number 9, which is to continue the general plan public hearing to our December 9th meeting.
Motion to continue.
Thank you, Commissioner Oliverio. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Torrens. Let's go ahead and do a roll call vote on that. Vice Chair Bonilla.
Aye.
Commissioner Casey.
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia.
Aye.
Commissioner Lardinois.
Wait, are we just doing this vote again?
No, we're voting to continue the general plan public hearing to December 9th.
Gotcha. Aye.
Commissioner Oliverio.
Aye.
And Commissioner Torrens.
Aye.
And Caballero is also an aye. So we'll move on to item number 10, which is referrals from City Council, boards, or commissions, or other agencies. Do we have any of those items, Robert?
No, we don't.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item number 11, which is report from City Council. Is there a report from City Council?
Yes, Madam Chair, we do. This is from yesterday's City Council meeting. The updated natural gas infrastructure prohibition ordinance was approved with conditions to return to rules for minor modifications. And then the 2 historic landmark nominations that you recommended to City Council were also approved. And lastly, the planned development rezoning at 907 North Capitol Avenue that you recommended was also approved. That's it.
Great, thank you so much. And item number 11B is review and approval of the action minutes from the November 18th meeting. Do we have any comments, questions, changes to those minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Commissioner Oliverio. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Torrens.
Keep this 1-2 going. Got to keep.
I know, right? Okay, sorry, I was thinking about whether or not we needed to do public comment on this, but Vera, do we need to do that?
No, you do not.
Okay, we do not. Thank you. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do a roll call vote, which Vice Chair Bonilla.
Aye.
Commissioner Casey.
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia.
Aye.
Commissioner Lardinois.
Aye.
Commissioner Oliverio.
Aye.
And Commissioner Torrens.
Aye.
And Caballero is also an aye. Item number C is subcommittee formation reports and outstanding business, for which we have no information or no items. Item D is commission calendar and study session. And I just want to remind our commissioners and the public who might be listening that we have a study session next week on December 9th at 4:30 related to the Downtown West Mixed Use Plan Proposal, which is also known as the Google Project. So we hope that you will join us if you're interested in that. And item E is the public record. Do we have anybody who'd like to add anything to the public record?
I do, if I may, Chair Caballero. I'd like to end this meeting in memoriam to Alofa Taliva, who was an amazing leader in the District 5 community. I got to know Alofa when I worked at City Hall, and I must say she was clearly the unofficial council member, or the official council member for District 5. Sadly, she passed away November 12th. Her loss is one that will be felt for many, many years in the community. However, the community that she built will continue her legacy. I know her family may be watching. I want to say thank you for sharing her with us. Her legacy will never be forgotten, and we are saddened by her loss, but equally, we will work to keep her legacy alive.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair Bonilla. I also got to know Alofa with my work with Supervisor Alvarado's office, and she was a strong leader who will be sorely missed in our community in District 5. Any other comments for the public record?
Yeah, I found her to be very positive, spiritual, and with a great sense of humor, and definitely one of the more effective community advocates I've met.
Thank you, Commissioner Oliverio. Okay, so seeing no other hands or comments.
One comment.
Oh, yes, sorry, go ahead.
For staff, do we have a study session in January? If it's not scheduled, it's not scheduled, but if you knew that you were going to schedule one, it'd be nice to know now.
It's not scheduled yet, but we'll let you know if one is scheduled.
Actually,
well, of course you will.
Actually, on the meeting schedule, it looks like we have one on January 29th at 5 p.m. But
bless you. Thank you.
I guess that might change. So, and for the public, the meeting schedule, and well, for our commissioners, the meeting schedule is attached to the agenda. It's the last page, or second to last. Never mind, it's not the last page. It's page 11 out of 15. So please put those dates in your calendar. And with that, oh no, that's the 2020 schedule. I'm so sorry. When will we get? Will we be getting the upcoming schedule at the next meeting?
I believe staff is working on it, so hopefully you get it before the end of the year.
So I apologize, Commissioner Oliverio. I misspoke. That was
I trust you.
2020.
That's right. Hopefully next week, but we'll see.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Have a great night, and we will see you back on December 9th.
Thank you.